Welcome to Unforbidden Truth. I'm Andrew. Today I'll be speaking with convicted domestic terrorist Michael Reynolds. Michael Reynolds is an American convicted of domestic terrorism for plotting attacks against U.S. energy infrastructure in 2005. A former engineer with a troubled personal and financial background, Reynolds attempted to contact jihadist networks online, expressing a desire to bomb pipelines and refineries across the country. He was caught in an FBI sting operation after trying to collaborate with somebody he believed was affiliated with al-Qaeda, but who was actually an undercover informant. He traveled to Idaho expecting to receive $40,000 to fund his planned attacks and was arrested at a rest stop in possession of a hand grenade. In 2007, he was convicted on multiple federal charges, including attempting to provide material support to a terrorist organization and plotting to destroy critical infrastructure. Despite arguments that he may have been mentally unstable or manipulated by the FBI, the jury found him guilty after a short deliberation, and he was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. His case is often cited in discussions about the balance between preemptive counterterrorism operations and the ethics of sting tactics used by law enforcement. Here's my interview with convicted domestic terrorist Michael Reynolds.
This call is from
Michael Reynolds. Michael Curtis Reynolds. I was born in Mount Kisco, New York, 1958, April 6th. Presently, the case involved is from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Can you recall any positive memories that stick out to you from your childhood?
I would think most of all my third grade teacher, Miss Sims, a very positive person, and you know, I think she made a difference with kids and learning and making it interesting to do school.
Can you recall any negative memories that stick out to you from your childhood?
Local bully. Used to beat on my brother and I pretty much every other day until we moved.
So were your parents together throughout your childhood?
Yes. They stayed together until my father died in 1990.
Did you suffer any type of childhood abuse or trauma growing up?
There was an incident when I was 16 where there was a rape involved, but wasn't a family member or anything like that.
And you were the one that was assaulted?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that has any lifelong trauma to this day?
No.
No, that's good. What was your behavior like at home growing up, going back as early as you can remember?
Well, I know we spent a lot of time on timeout stairs because my sister and I would act up and we'd get assigned a stair to sit on until we were quiet. But it was, nothing major. I mean, there were spankings as children, but we knew when it happened, you knew it was coming, you deserved it. That was that. They were never abusive.
What was your behavior like in school, more so in your middle school and high school years?
Actually, I started excelling and going beyond my classmates. Probably
this call is from a federal prison.
all of high school. I almost graduated in 10th grade.
You almost graduated in 10th grade, almost early?
Yeah, because you have to have sponsors for certain classes that you can't just wave off, like history, English, such like that. And the teachers involved all had seniors and stuff assigned to them, so they put me on being a sophomore.
So did you end up graduating in 12th grade then, or did you end up graduating in 10th grade?
Oh no, I had to stick till 12. But I ended up doing things like I became a student teacher, teaching math to 8th graders when I was in 10th. And then I ended up doing track practice during the day because I couldn't stay after school.
So did you engage in any type of criminal activity as a juvenile?
I mean, other than kids that maybe trespassed, stuff like that, there was no major incidents.
So let's talk about the criminal activity as an adult prior to the case that you're serving time for now. Can you Can you talk about the few times you were charged and convicted prior to this case?
Sure. You want to talk about 1978?
Yeah, were you arrested in 1976 as well?
76?
Yeah, I'm reading. It says. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It says you were a 1976 graduate, and you were
Right.
also
Yeah.
arrested on charges of disorderly conduct and breach of the peace.
Yeah.
Before that was before
That,
1978.
yeah. It was an incident where some girl pulled a stunt to get some extra hours, and she hands me a phone and says, "Just let my parents know you're staying with us." And I said, "Yeah, she's hanging out with us for a while." And then she went and told her parents that we basically kidnapped her.
Oh wow! And what
It
was
was
the
basically, yeah,
aftermath
it
of
was.
that?
Well, when it got to court, it was laughed out, but they had to go through the process because the father made a complaint. I mean, they called me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the police apologized, but I had to go.
Right. So were you arrested and the charges were later dropped?
Oh yeah. As soon as I walked into the courtroom,
So what about the conviction in 1978?
that was for an attempted arson. I had plugged in a battery charger that overheated. The court caught fire in the garage of my parents' house.
Did the house burn down completely?
No, no. It caused some charring. My father repaired it himself. Nobody moved out of the house at all. But the state of New York prosecuted.
And how much time did you get for that?
I actually got 3 years probation and was kicked off after a year. It was almost thrown out because the prosecutor committed perjury, and it irritated the judge so much, he kicked it down to arson fourth. And in New York, the understanding was that attempted is a lesser included offense. They didn't tell the jury that there is no such charge as attempted arson fourth. It doesn't exist.
Was that the extent of your criminal activity prior to the cases that you're serving time for now?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, even my PSR has 5 events on it, 3 of which didn't happen or were not legally charged. There was one more in 2002 for there was 2002 disturbing the peace in Ansonia. That's it.
So all just like misdemeanors, nothing too big.
Oh, I never have felonies. No. Even the arson fourth thing was a misdemeanor.
This call is from a federal prison.
Let's talk about the crimes you're in prison for now. You're convicted of plotting to blow up energy installations, attempting to enlist help online, and possession of a hand grenade. Can you walk me through everything that led up to your conviction, starting with the online discussions?
Well, as far as the online discussions, I was in Thailand when most of this started. I was over there until November of 2005. So, as far as the beginning of the online discussions, I wasn't here or part of them.
So you weren't in Thailand, like online discussing with, like in the Yahoo
No.
chat room?
No. In fact, I had no real internet service because I used to use AOL, and the account had been hacked and stolen when I was in Austria, so I dropped the account, and when I moved to Thailand, I was told I couldn't change the account because they don't have local AOL service. So I said, if I can't use the local service, I'm not paying long distance to use it. So I dropped the whole thing. But the account had been stolen while I was in Austria, probably back in May that year.
So you're saying that your account was stolen and somebody was like pretending to be you to send all these messages and whatnot in these chat rooms?
Exactly. The account was stolen off eBay. Somebody had made a purchase of a camera and had sent it to my old home's address where my brother-in-law had access. And I got a thank you letter from the guy that sold the camera. That was my first alert that something was going on.
So even the messages that were posted to that wasn't you. There was a message stating that it is true America has overstepped its boundaries and invaded Iraq. Yada yada yada. So? Are you saying that was somebody else that had posted that?
Yeah, it was. I got involved later when somebody was stealing money from my account because I was trying to see who physically was doing it. I was trying to make a meeting to find out if it was my brother-in-law, which I suspected.
So when you were charged, were you actually in possession of a hand grenade at the time?
No, the hand grenades came this way. First of all, when I was arrested in Idaho, I had no clue what I was being arrested for. Then when I went to the arraignment hearing, they said possession of this hand grenade, right? My brother had two dummy hand grenades that he stole from the military. And they had sand in them, as far as I was ever told. And he had left them in the house when he moved out, like January that year. When I was moving out to Austria, part of the deal was this company was going to move everything, clean out the house, throw everything out. I never went through my brother's stuff that he left. Didn't care. It was going in the trash. That's where the hand grenades came from.
They weren't like active grenades. They were just.
They were not active grenades, no. As a matter of fact, my attorney, when we later analyzed the picture of the grenade they showed, figured out that my brother-in-law had disassembled them and put gunpowder in them. And that would be Philip Gelso out of Wilkes-Barre that came up with that theory.
So I'm reading more here. It says on October 2nd, 2006, you were additionally charged with providing assistance to al-Qaeda. Was that from the same email account?
It was, and that was done because I wouldn't take a plea bargain for the grenades.
What was the plea bargain you were offered?
Claimed it was for 6 years, but they wouldn't guarantee a thing. And that was what they felt the minimum would be, but the thing is they're stackable and could have been 20 for something I had nothing to do with. So I told them, you know what, if you get it in writing, I don't care about that charge. I would take that if you get it in writing at 6. And they refused. And when I ordered speedy trial, the lawyer quit on the very first day because I wouldn't take a plea bargain.
So what was it that led to your arrest? Like, how did your arrest play out?
How did they arrest me?
Yeah.
I went to see, I tried to, like I said, make a meeting so I could find out who was stealing this money from my accounts. And I went, they showed up with the FBI. They had them staged in the area of the meeting. And they set a bait trap of money. I wanted to see who was going to deliver the money. They weren't there. I went to leave. They arrested me. Never touched the money, never opened it, nothing.
Did this have to do with Shannon Rossmiller?
She claims that she was emailing to my account, to me. And this was the AOL account originally. It moved around to Yahoo accounts, but it started with AOL, and it was the one that was stolen.
So in these emails, the person that was on your account had promised them $40,000. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. So I went to see who was picking it up.
And when you got there, it was an FBI agent?
There was supposedly money in a bag. There was a money where they said it was going to be this meeting at this place. I didn't touch the bag, didn't touch the money. I got up to leave because there was nobody there. They come around the corner and arrested me. Then when they do arrest me, they don't tell me any charges. I go to a magistrate, and they tell me it's for the hand grenades. Now, the first hand grenade supposedly they found on April 23rd. My brother-in-law claims to have found it, and I was in Austria, 9,000 miles away. The second one they claim they found while I was in Idaho, 2,000 miles away. I never had them.
So after you were arrested and put on trial, were you offered any type of plea deals?
The only one that they offered, but I wouldn't take it, they superseded with the other charges and just went straight to trial.
And that's where you got 30 years flat?
At the sentencing, it went that way, yes.
So how did you feel after you were sentenced to 30 years in prison?
Cheated. I really had witnesses ready and everything else, and the attorney kicked my witnesses out of the courtroom and then had the courtroom locked. When I complained, the judge told me to shut up. He was in charge. Both my My daughter and my son would testify to that if you talk to them.
Have you been diagnosed with any mental illnesses?
Bipolar, that's it.
Bipolar?
Yeah.
So, how do you spend your time in prison these days?
I do legal work when I'm not teaching.
What do you teach in there?
Well, I have a teaching degree from the street, so I teach math, English.
So the day that you are released from prison, do you have a plan set in place to ensure that you won't reoffend in any way, shape, or form?
Why would I reoffend when I didn't offend the first time?
Right, that's fair enough. Is there anything that
even the recidivism test that the BOP does? I mean, my scores are in the negative numbers as far as redoing any crimes. Got one of the lowest recidivism scores in the BOP.
Is there anything that you would like the public to know about yourself or this case for that matter?
Never trust a public defender. I went and trusted him because I didn't have the paperwork. The people at the jail stole all my documents. So I had to depend on the public defender for all the evidence papers, and then he decided not to use them. Matter of fact, we didn't even put up a defense. The day we were supposed to start, he closed it.
And what was the reason for that, do you know?
Yeah, he made a deal with the prosecutor that I was going to get convicted. They went and ran to the press when they started the whole thing, telling them they had a local terrorist and they were going to get a conviction. But as they developed the case, they realized there isn't any case. They got desperate for plea bargains. They were throwing plea bargains at me that had nothing to do with the case just to get a guilty plea.
So your public defender took the plea deal on your behalf without consulting you?
I didn't do a plea. I went to trial. He caved in the trial.
Oh, okay.
Folded the defense. He took and went through the room, and every one of my witnesses or friends, he talked to them and had them leave the trial room. And then he had the doors closed and locked to keep them out. Then he told the judge we were done on our first day.
Did you have any say-so about that, or did he not let you talk?
Nope. I tried to argue it, and the judge says, shut up, he's in charge. I said, Your Honor, the witnesses were here on their own in the room, and he says he doesn't care. That's why I was saying, if you talk to Justin and Emily, they'll confirm that.
And I do plan on contacting them like a week or so after I put this together, and I'll have them on here so they can verify all that. And not only that, but talk about how it's impacted them having you in prison out of their lives. So we'll definitely get together with them.
Okay.
Before we conclude this interview, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
Well, I don't really know that we haven't. I mean, other than the fact that right now I am waiting for an appeal that could send me to the street because the law has changed and several of my charges are no longer legal. I just recently finished up the briefs on that, and I'm waiting for the judge to come through with a verdict.
That was my interview with convicted domestic terrorist Michael Reynolds. Head on over to patreon.com/unforbidden-truth. For just $3 a month, you can skip the ads. If you'd like to support the show by picking up some merch, head on over to unforbiddentruth.org. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one.